Hello, team. All right, let's get into it. So, I want to remind you, you have a quiz tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about types of research. So, basically, do you know what they are? I'm not going to be asking you to tell me why you should use a case study and not an experiment or anything like that. That's complicated. We'll get into it later. So, today, I'm going to check in with you real quick and talk to you about how to do that. Then we're going to be talking about descriptive statistics. There are two kinds of statistics. This is the first kind we're going to talk about. And then we're going to do an activity where we apply what we're talking about. So just for our check-in, I kind of want to know how the process is going for you. Do you feel like it's good to have the multiple choice questions for do nows? Is the reading guide working for you? Do you feel like you're keeping up? Is it too much? Is there anything we need to fix or change? All right. So you can send me a little remind. You can send me an email. However it is that you want to do that. Just give me a quick check-in. Let me know how you're doing. And I'm talking specifically about AP Psych. I'm not asking about your other classes. I care, but the purpose of this check-in is how we're doing in this class. Okay, so we're going to talk today about descriptive statistics, and those are called measures of central tendency. So go ahead and set up your heading, in your notes. I know your data is wrong. Don't come at me. We're still in our scientific foundations unit, and our topic today is descriptive statistics. Okay, so this one is pretty simple. In descriptive statistics is basically using something called measures of central tendency, and these are just ways to describe average scores or typical scores. And you probably learned this way back when in elementary school, middle school maybe. And these are the three different types of averages. So we're going to do some work practicing them in our notes, and then we're going to do some work, practicing them with other oh my God, I can't think, other data sets, basically. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is the mode. So this is the score that shows up the most often. And this is the most useful when you want to find out how popular something is. So, when you hear on commercials like 4 out of 5 dentists recommend this toothpaste, that's the mode. Okay. So we have a data set here, and I want you to take a minute and look at your set and figure out what is the mode, what is the most common score in this data set. Okay, so if you said 5, ding, 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 you are correct. Nice job. Okay, so let's talk about the other two. Our next one is median. This is a score that when we arrange our scores from lowest to highest, or highest to lowest, either way, this is the one that's in the very, very middle. Okay, so there's a particular case when we're going to use this. It's not useful if scores are really all over the place, but if there's a huge collection of scores kind of at the bottom, or if there's a huge collection of scores at the higher end, this can help us get a more true average when the data is set up like that. So if we take our data set, right, that we worked with on the last one, we want to figure out what the median of this is. So the first thing we need to do is to rank the scores. I cannot figure out the median if they're all jumbled up like this. I have to put them in order. And I can do from low to high or from high to low. I personally prefer to do low to high. So here it is right now. Okay, so now take a second and figure out what is the median score of this data set. All right, so again, if you said 5, you are correct. I don't have a prize for you. I'm sorry, but you can just revel in the satisfaction of knowing that you figured it out. And if not, you can revel in the satisfaction of knowing that you're learning how to figure it out. Okay, so the last one is usually what we mean when we say average. So this is when you take all the scores, you add them together, and then you divide by how many scores there are. Okay, so we need to be careful because when we have data sets like this, where one score appears multiple times, you can't lump those together. So my calculations, my central tendencies would be skewed if I had just done 2, 5, 6, 7. That's not going to give me the right one. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're treating each number, even though it's the same as another one, like it's its own thing. Okay, so we're going to take our, ooh, no, you didn't see that. We're going to take our data set here and we're going to figure out what the mean is. So we're going to add them all together. Excuse me. And then there's 9 scores. We're going to divide by 9. And yes, I know I showed it to you already. Our mean is 4.8. All right. So this one is usually the most accurate, but again, when our data is skewed, so there's a lot of scores at the top end or a lot of scores at the bottom end, sometimes this isn't giving us the true average, which is why we might decide to use the median. Okay? All right, so now you're going to work on completing working with measures of central tendency on your own, and it's the same thing that we just did. So when you go to your worksheet here, you see that I've given you a data set, and I need you to do the mean, median, mode for their ages, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna figure out how many types of family members, of each type of family member you have. So how many cousins, how many siblings, how many aunts, et cetera, et cetera. And you're gonna fill in this chart, okay? So let me help you. You have one great aunt. It's great Aunt Mariah, all right? You have one, so you're gonna fill in this chart, and then you're gonna use this new data set to do the mean, median, and mode. Okay, so same thing we just did, it's just different numbers, same process. And if you need to go back to the PowerPoint or to your notes to remind yourself of how to do each one, that's totally fine.